Good evening, everyone. My name is CA Astha Gupta, and I am the moderator of today's session on AI and building of digital marketing roadmap to upskill the future of members in industry, which is being organized by the Committee for Members in Industry and Business of the ICAI. The Committee for Members in Industry and Business, CMIB, was earlier known as Committee for the Members in Industry of ICAI, formed by council decision taken at its 102nd meeting held in September 1982. The first meeting of the committee was held in 1983. The name of the committee was changed to its present name as the Committee for Members in Industry and Business in the council year 1718. It was formed with an objective to consider matters affecting members in service, in particular, to consider the problems linked to career planning, ethics, and other related matters, to consider the ways and means to enhance the participation of members in service in the affair of the institute, to provide an employment service both for benefit of members seeking employment in industry and prospective employers, to explore and develop fresh avenues of employment for members in industry. The major activities of the committee are campus placement program for the newly qualified CAs, women campus, career ascent for experienced CAs, overseas campus placement program, MDP for rank holders, MDP for general members, CA for meets, HR meets, 40 under 40 awards, and ICAI awards. This committee is being chaired by CA Dheeraj Kumar Khandelwal, who is a man with astute intellect, quick understanding, and sharp vision. He has more than 20 years of experience and has been elected as member of the Central Council of the ICAI for continuous 3 council terms. He is currently the chairman of CMNIB, Services and WTO, and Committee on MSME and Startup of ICAI. His entrepreneurial journey with expertise in the field of business advisory, planning, project finance, angel investing, mentoring startups along with excellent organization skills envisions the accounting profession across the globe. Now let's move on to the expert speaker of today's session, Ms. Nandini Sharma. Welcome, ma'am. Ms. Nandini Sharma is an alumna of the CRPF Public School Rohini. She has distinguished herself by topping her 12th grade English exams before earning a gold medal from Delhi University. Driven by a vision to bridge the knowledge gap between college students and Delhi University aspirants, Nandini has rapidly established herself as a multifaceted leader. She's an acclaimed educator and recognized as the Rising Educator of the Year 2024. She has been invited as a guest speaker at various DU colleges. She has also worked with the prestigious institutions like IIM Indore and FDDI under the Ministry of Commerce. She is an influential content creator and has been declared as the Emerging Influencer of the Year 2024. Her educational content reaches over 2 lakh followers and impacts 20 million students across social media platforms. She's also a visionary entrepreneur as the founder and CEO of TIA, which is the Invincible Academy and Agency. She leads a pioneering digital marketing startup. TIA functions both as an agency and a dynamic learning environment, embodying invincibility that fosters growth and empowerment. We are honored to have you on board, Ms. Nandini. So before I hand over the today's session to Ms. Nandini, I would quickly like to talk a little about today's interesting topic. It is the world of AI and we are just living in it. Most of the aspects of our personal as well as professional lives are slowly becoming dependent on artificial intelligence. From Alexa or Google Home setting up our morning alarms, switching on electric devices, using voice command on popular search engines like Siri, Google, our customized feed on the social media, mainly comprising of Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, online shopping on Amazon, Myntra, Flipkart. These are all just tip of the iceberg of the world of the AI. See how these technologies have become an important part of our living. We have adapted our lives around them for the convenience and easy living. Similarly, in professional lives, we use various tools and technologies in our daily work. In fact, very recently, our institute, our alma mater, the ICAI, has introduced a dynamic course on artificial intelligence basics for the betterment of the professional members because it understands that sooner or later we will have to adapt our practices to AI. Today's session is not only limited to AI, but also covers aspects of digital marketing. I understand that the code of ethics issued by the ICAI is stringent about solicitation of clientele and marketing, but if we are aware of useful digital marketing tools that can take our practice to the next level within the boundaries of the ethics, then that is definitely going to be a huge game changer. So over to you, Ms. Nandini. Please take the webinar forward.
Thank you for the very warm welcome, Siastha. I am really overwhelmed with this introduction as well as the welcome that you've given to me. And I would really like to thank ICI for this opportunity and C. Sanjeev sir for being the role model for so many people out there. And I think ethics is something that I've been reading for the past many weeks so that I can take this webinar here and I can, take up this topic on how within the boundaries of these ethics, CAs can learn digital marketing as well as some AI tools that can ease their life as well as take them forward for global representation. So that will be the agenda for today. And I am just sharing my screen. Please give me a thumbs up if you are able to see that. Along with that, I would also like to ask if we can interact with the people joining the webinar through chat. Is that possible or not?
So the attendees of the webinar can leave the questions in the chat, and maybe towards the end of your session, we will pick those questions up.
So, is the screen visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Great. So, welcome everyone to today's session, and it will be like a roadmap to online growth for the people who are in CA profession in the year 2025. And this is presented to you by me, Nandini Sharma. I'm the CEO and founder of the Invincible Academy and Agency. And this presentation is illustrated by Dr. Aparajita Sharma, who's a brilliant illustrator. And this presentation is only for educational purposes and adheres to all the ICAI guidelines that we could read and understand. It does not solicit or advertise any kind of services. Coming to Meet Your Mentor, which is me for today. So I have the prestige of holding the Captain Anuj Nair Memorial Gold Medal from Delhi University. Also, some tags including Emerging Influencer of the Year 2024, Rising Educator of the Year 2024. And within a span of 1 year, I have worked with more than 5,000 clients. It's not even been a year for me that I've started the Invincible Academy, and we have already touched the milestone of working with more than 5,000 clients and counting. And it is all because of digital marketing, and that is the reason that I want to aware more and more people about this. I was also featured in Times of India Student Edition and also Amar Ujala newspapers for various articles. Apart from that, I was guest speaker at various colleges of Delhi University and some private colleges, which include SGT, WIPS, and other colleges. I had the privilege of working with IIMs like IIM Indore. I have also worked with IIT Guwahati and with FDDI. And I have worked with 100 plus institutions across the globe for making people aware about their various scholarships as well as the opportunities that they provide to students worldwide. That's about me. The topics that we'll be covering today are as follows. Number one, why a professional presence is crucial for CAs. Then the opportunities and challenges that they might face in the online growth. Then coming to AI tools that can streamline their practice and the online presence. Then we will also discuss the ethical strategies tailored specifically for CA professionals. We will talk about some do's and don'ts so that if you ever find yourself conflicting, you can always come back to this presentation and you guys can take a screenshot of it and see what are the do's that you can actually do within the ICI ethical boundaries. Then we will talk about the importance of online professional presence in the year 2025. And then I'll be giving a step-by-step roadmap for digital success. At the end of the session, I would like that if the participants have some kind of questions which will arise after having this discussion, so I am open to any kind of questions. Coming to the first slide directly, the landscape is changing. We all know, as even Siastha mentioned, that we have seen in the past 5 years that technology has changed spellbound. So we can see a change everywhere around us, from Alexa to Siri to Google to Geo to every other big company is coming up with AI tools. Every other big company is transforming itself with technology and AI. And the traditional word of mouth or referral are becoming less reliable because the clients are becoming very tech savvy. So here, for any professional services, and specifically for people coming from CA backgrounds, it is very important to aware and educate the people around us about the right things. So now when we are so much surrounded by these technologies, we also have a lot of scams going on. So here the importance of professionals like CA come in to educate, empower, and aware other people or the layman people about what exactly is to be done, what is the right thing to be done, what are the ethical practices that is to be done when it comes to finances, and all the all the niche practices that CS prefer. So coming to the solutions, you can always build an online presence. You can start any day. You can start from today. You can start in 2025, but sooner the better. So 3 points that I want to highlight here. Number one is build a visibility and credibility in this competitive market. So the market is extremely competitive when it comes to building your online presence. It is not just for the CA professionals; it is for everyone. Number two is when you are trying to, aware and educate people. Now the people who are actually wanting to learn a lot of things comes from the age of 18 to 25. So this particular, the young generation are pretty much tech savvy individuals, and any and everything they would love to google it first. So if they're going somewhere, for example, me for example, if I want to go to some particular restaurant or some particular dining place, I would first like to google it and then go forward with it. So, and it is not just with me, it's the same with all of my generation and the people who are now coming up in the purchasing power dynamics. So for them, of course, we need to build an online presence for all the CA professionals. Number three is we really need to stay ahead in the digital first world. So from government to big change leaders, everyone is preferring digital first, and we need to step ahead with them. We need to keep up with it. So building an online presence, it's not just important for you to maintain an online presence, but it is also important for you to stay ahead with the change leaders as well as with the government or any big uh, corporate house or any other big industry for that matter. So it is not just important for you as a CA professional, it is also important for you as a person who wants to bring change, who wants to aware people, who wants to educate other people, or want to bring any kind of change. Even if it is we have worked with a lot of NGOs as well, and even if they want to aware a lot of people, the traditional methods have died out. So now even the NGOs, even the people who are doing it for non-profits, they are in the digital first world. So that is why it is not just important for professional world, isn't is it is now important for every other person. Coming up to the next thing, this is a fact check that 70% of the client research is online before hiring any kind of professional. So even if you have somebody who's already working with us, they would still like to, search you up online. They would still like to see what kind of credibility and trust you are building online, because every person is so much saturated with the information as well as with the online world that they need to see that the person that we are working with or collaborating with, what kind of image do other people perceive of them. So it is very important for you to build an online presence to show your trust, to gain trust, and to build your credibility. Coming up, what an online professional presence can do for you. So what are the benefits? Number one, it can establish your online presence. So a professional website, active social media profile, it shows that you are not somebody who's trying to, do a fraud, or for that matter, you are somebody who is there out in the world with the tech savvy people, and you are there to make a change. So when you move forward with the younger generation, when you move forward with the changes of the industry, you establish a trust and you establish your way of moving forward, right? Second is showcase expertise. So you can publish blogs, you can publish videos and resources to demonstrate your knowledge. So blogs and a lot of people would like to ask that blogs have actually died out, but blogs in a general matter, there was a boom in the 2000s. People used to read blogs like anything, because it was a transformation from newspapers to blogs. That was the 2000s boom. Today itself, I wrote a LinkedIn post where I talked about if podcast culture is the new thing or will it die in the next 2 to 3 years. And in that, I said that it is similar to a blog, a boom of the 2000s is very, very similar to the 2020s podcast boom, which we saw in the past 2 to 3 years, that podcasts have become the new thing. So will they die? And we have come to the conclusion that if podcast, even such a cool culture of podcast, if they do not move forward with AI, if they do not move forward with technology, even they can die out. So any kind of culture that comes up like a storm can die out if they do not work themselves and move forward with the technology. So coming to the third point is building trust. Again and again, I emphasize that a lot of people would love to, check up online that what kind of credibility, what kind of trust you are building online, and what kind of image do you have online. So it is very important that you put up case studies, because we cannot really put up um, client base or client case studies or solicit any kind of client online. So what we can do is we can put up case studies for educational purposes. From that, a lot of people can learn and a lot of people can get aware. That is our first and foremost vision towards building an online presence. Number four is expanded reach. It's not just about acquainting a client, or it is not just about working with someone. It is also about how much impact you are making globally. So when a person from a particular fraternity is representing the fraternity globally, it is very important that they have a digital presence. So if you are a person whose vision is to maintain an image which takes you to the global stage, you need to maintain your online presence, because even the people outside of your local area would love to search you up. So expanding, if you're trying to scale up or you're trying to expand your reach, it is very important that you build your online presence. Then driving engagement. There are multiple tools that can help you, and we will be talking about them in the consecutive slides. Next is the AI tools that CAs can use for content creation and communication. So number one is ChatGPT that we all are using. ChatGPT's alternative is Gemini, but I personally use a lot of GPT, and I have my own version of GPT. So GPT gives you a lot of developer options. And since I am from the technical background, I love to experiment with AI. So what I've done is I have taken the beta version of GPT and I have trained my GPT in such a way that now when I say that, hi GPT, just write an introduction for me that I need to send to ICI for a webinar that I'm taking. So GPT would reply in such a way that it knows who Nandini is, what all is to be mentioned in front of people who belong to a particular fraternity. It knows what ICI is because I have trained it over the past 1 year to know what these kind of things are. So I have trained the GPT my way, and a lot of you can do so. And GPT can help you in writing the answers to a very common questions. For example, if you need to add FAQ section to maybe your online presence or to maybe your website, you can easily use ChatGPT and structure all the answers in a way that it is not too long and it is informative as well. Number two is writing blogs. Whenever you're trying to write a blog, it is very important that the blog is extremely structured. So now you can use GPT, you can just put in your raw thoughts and ask it to rewrite it in a way that it represent a professional tone. You can also write email replies. Even you can form emails using GPT. Sometimes we are so busy that we are not even undersigning our own emails. We are not writing professional emails. My team, for example, I have a bunch of young kids working with me, and when they reply to my emails, they're mostly like, "Yo, Nandini, what's up?" So these are the kind of replies that I get, and I make sure that they learn to write professional replies. But they have come up with GPT options, and they have integrated GPT into their emails, and now their GPT replies to me. So it is professional, as well as it is not just professional for me, but even if they're replying to any kind of professional person, like maybe a person who's organizing my webinar, or maybe somebody from colleges we are coordinating with. It can also be somebody from our client base. So whenever they're replying, there is a GPT option available, and they can always reply in a very professional manner. So it is very, very useful for people who are not very fond of writing professional emails, as well as for people who are too busy to write emails. Then coming to Jasper AI. Jasper AI is very, very useful if you're trying to create content and you are not able to afford, or you're not able to hire a particular team of content creators to work for you. So what you can do is you can just go to jasper.ai and you can personalize your content. You just need to train it the way. It will take you some time to understand the whole process of it, but it is very useful once you understand. A lot of tutorials are available online on how to use Jasper, and it would actually not just give you personalized content, but also help you think, you cues to think when it comes to creating content which really stands out in the saturated market. Number three is Grammarly. So a lot of people have grammar issues, grammatical issues. Their English is not that well, or maybe people whose first language is not English. So for them, Grammarly integration is very important, because when we are sending out any kind of email, when we are writing any kind of PDF, or we are sending any kind of professional document, it doesn't look good that some kind of grammatical or spelling error is there. So instead of just depending on a word, we can depend on Grammarly, because Grammarly also tells us how to rewrite a particular thing if we want to shorten or longer the paragraph. So Grammarly is extremely important, as well as its integration with ChatGPT is also another level game. And you can try it out while writing emails, or while writing any kind of professional document. You can also use it when you are trying to maybe write a terms and conditions kind of a document for any of your client, or if you're collaborating with someone and you're signing a document, both of these will come very, very handy. Then, coming to a few more AI tools that I would like to recommend to all of you for project management. If you're handling any kind of project, these two comes very handy. And trust me, we have worked with 100 plus clients at the same time, and managing those all of those clients with different niches and different things to cater. It was very handy when we use Notion and Trello. Notion helps you organize your workflows, tasks, and deadlines. I'm not promoting any kind of AI tool here. Most of them are free to use, and most of them are the tools that I personally use. So Notion will help you organize all of your workflows, what needs to be done after what, all of your tasks for all of your team, and if any kind of deadline is to be added, you don't need to put it on a WhatsApp group. What you can do is just put it on Notion, and Notion will give a reminder and a kind of alert to every person in the particular team. Then Trello. Trello is really good if you're handling some kind of client project one to one. So you can add the client into it. You can also add your team collaboration. You can also check which person can talk to which team. So, for example, you want to bar some of your team members from talking to a particular client. You can easily do that. Or if you don't want the interns or the new joinees to see what is happening exactly in the project, you can also do that in Trello. Both of them come very handy when used together. So AI is not just for content creation. It can do so much for you to ease your life every day. In the every day-to-day situation, we are so much into sheets, and I mean, we are using Excel sheets, we are using documents, and sometimes it gets so overwhelming that we get confused in two to three Excel sheets together, and we sometimes merge it up. Or even the new trainees are not able to figure out which one goes where. They're not able to figure out which team are they exactly working with. So if you're expanding and scaling up, I would suggest you to leave your Excel sheets and come to Notion and Trello for management purposes. Coming to some new AI tools here, for particularly for marketing and design. So marketing, I'm not saying for a particular marketing perspective, but even when, for example, you are creating a brochure or a flyer for your webinar. For example, ICI recently created the flyer for this particular webinar. What they could have done is just go to ChatGPT, write up what all is to be done in a particular webinar, who is coming as the guest speaker, who is moderating, who all will be joining the webinar. Just put in the link there and integrate it with Canva. What it will do, it'll get all the cues, all the structure from ChatGPT. It'll put it into Canva, and Canva within 5 minutes will design everything for you. So instead of spending like maybe 30 minutes or paying to a graphic designer for such a small thing like a flyer, you can just chat GPT and Canva it in 5 minutes. So it can also be done when you're creating your visiting cards. If it can also be done when you're creating boards, because ICI has put up a lot of restrictions when it comes to designing your particular cards, or designing your website, or designing of your boards which are to be put in front of your office. So what you can do, you can put all of those guidelines as well on the chat GPT, and it will take care of that. It is possible, it is a very human thing to miss out on a few things sometimes, because ICI has put up a lot of guidelines. Reading all of that guidelines is not humanly possible for a person who's not from the CA fraternity, because I have first-handedly experienced it in the past 2 weeks. So if I would ask my graphic designer to read it, the person will leave the job only. So it is better you put it to AI. You just put the thing to ChatGPT and just get it designed by Canva in the next 5 minutes. It saves a lot of money, and it also saves a lot of time and energy for that matter. And it also saves you any kind of violation as well. Here, for sometimes I come across a lot of people who say, will AI keep up with the ethics that we have in a particular environment or in a particular institution? And they think that AI is not that ethical, but I feel absolutely opposite about it. Because if you put all the guidelines into my GPT, for example, it will always remember it and never violate it for that matter. Because AI doesn't forget. Humans do, but AI will never forget it. So it is very, very useful for people who are expanding, scaling up, or designing new things every day. Second is Lumen 5. Lumen 5 is especially for people who are more into writing but not more into content creation. People, maybe, for example, if someone is camera shy, if someone is not able to speak that well, but they are very good writers, what they can do is they can write a blog, just put it on Lumen 5, and they will create video content for maybe YouTube or LinkedIn, which you can put for educational purposes for that matter. So Lumen 5 is very good for camera shy people as well as who do not feel comfortable with the camera or do not have the time to, record particular videos. So one person can just write the blog and put it on Lumen 5 to convert it into a video. These two tools are especially for people who are trying to build an online presence, because you need to design a lot of things when it comes to your online presence. Your posts are being designed, your banner is being designed, your different kinds of, for example, YouTube has a banner, but Instagram doesn't have a banner. It has different posts to be posted or stories to be posted. So for that matter, Canva is very, very useful when it is integrated with GPT or Gemini as well. Gemini is the similarly like the Chat GPT. Gemini is by Google, and why I particularly do not use Gemini as of now. In Jabki I have purchased a Google Workspace, and it's a very expensive thing to be purchased online. But I still do not use Gemini because Gemini is still in training. So I feel ChatGPT for that matter, because I've trained it for the past 1 year, I particularly feel very, very comfortable with it. But if you are just starting, I would recommend you to start building and start training Gemini. And if you can, please purchase Google Workspace. It will be very handy for you to use it. Coming to a few more AI tools, just a disclaimer, I have not used these three AI tools for my management. I have talked to a few CA friends of mine, and they suggested that these are the tools that they are using. They're the new generation, and I felt that I could take their word. But I would suggest you to first try it and then only make it a daily habit. So, first is QuickBot AI, QuickBooks AI. Here you can automate your financial management tasks. All the financial management that you need to do, or your teamwork, all of that can be done on QuickBook. Then coming to Zoho CRM, here you can manage your client relationship and automate your flows. It is what I have got the response is that it is very similar to Notion, which we use. So you can also use Zoho CRM. It has a bit of a financial vibe to it. That is the reason that CAs are preferring this. Then Tableau will is being used by data scientists as well, because it will visualize your client data for the better insight. So, for example, you have some numerical data, which most of the CA professionals do have in their daily lives, and you want to represent into a bar graph format, or you want to give it a pie chart format. So Tableau, you just put it up which format you want, and it will do it in seconds without even you blinking an eye. So it is very, very useful. A lot of people who work with a lot of data and who work with a lot of numbers in their daily lives, they use Tableau. Then coming up with some auditing, and this also I have taken insights from people who are in this industry and are very, very tech savvy. So Mindbridge AI Auditor will detect anomalies and flag audit risks using AI. So it is quick, it is fast, and it can be done for, if you have a short data, you can definitely use it. Then coming up with Caseware Idea, it analyzes large data sets to identify potential audit issues. So again, this is for auditing. And then come into ACL Analytics. It also tracks risk patterns, and it monitors transactions for fraud detection. So it is useful for fraud detection. But I would again say that please use it once on a smaller data, and then only keep using it for big data or for some important data for that matter. And these three are paid tools. So a 7-day free trial would be available, but the rest of that would be paid. So you can just test it first for 7 days and then bring it in daily use. Then coming to some ICI guidelines overview for your online professional presence. So this is my favorite part of this presentation. I think AI tools sometimes get very overwhelming when you try teaching them without giving any overview of it, because I was just telling you about the AI, but I really wanted to give a tutorial for it, but time did not allow me to do so. Maybe we could keep just a tutorial session next time. So
Nandini,
coming to the
sorry to interrupt you. I'm just getting a feedback. Can you just slow your speed a little from the members? Just for that.
Okay, sure, I can do that. Actually, there was just an hour, so I just wanted to
So you
cover a
have more
lot
than
of
an
things.
hour.
That
It's
was
only 4:33. You can wrap up by 5:40 or so. So you have ample time.
okay. So
Yeah.
I'll just go a little slow.
Thank you.
Do anyone want me to repeat the previous things?
I think you can start again from here, and then if required, you can come back to the slides.
Sure, I can do that. Okay. So ICI guidelines overview for online professional purpose. So CAs are allowed to use write-ups for sharing their factual information. For example, if you want to talk about your practice, your qualification, and your services, you are allowed to do it in a write-up format. You cannot obviously advertise it, but you can use a write-up for it. Then social media posts should focus on educational content, and you need to avoid any kind of testimonial, any kind of endorsement, or any kind of promotional language. Okay? So your tonality should not be to promote anything. Number three is avoid using any kind of client names, awards, or achievements in any form of public communication. So when you're doing any kind of public communication for if you're giving an interview or something, you should bar from naming your clients. That is for sure. Okay, so I hope this was clear and I'm being a little slow here. Then coming to some things which are permitted and not permitted. This is very, very important. Why is because sometimes we make mistakes being humans, and that is why I wanted to highlight also what is not allowed and what is allowed here. So what is permitted? Tax compliances, automated tax fillings, real-time alerts, and error detection, that is allowed. Data analysis, audit analytics, financial forecasting, and anomaly detection, that is also allowed to you for doing. Risk management, fraud detection, compliance monitoring, and internal control checks are also allowed. What is not allowed for CAs to practice with AI? You cannot use AI for lead generation, any kind of AI driven client prospecting or targeting potential clients. It is not allowed. Number two is any kind of targeted ads. So, for example, any kind of ad agency comes to you and tells you, itna, itna, you will invest this much amount of money, and this is the amount of ROI that you will get. This is the amount of people that it will reach to. That is not allowed for CA professionals. So do not go for any kind of running of any kind of ads. There are two kinds of ad mostly used in India. One is Meta ads, the other are Google ads. But you guys are not allowed to use any kind of ads for that matter. You are not allowed to promote any of your services through AI powered advertising or for advertising for that matter, because Meta ads and Google ads both have integrated AI into it. So you're not allowed to do any kind of ads. Number three is solicitation, direct marketing or promotional outreach. For example, cold calling, which is very common in our marketing field, is not at all allowed for CAs. So, for client acquiring, for client acquisition, for any kind of lead generation, you are not allowed to go for any kind of ads or any kind of cold calling. But where AI is allowed, all of the tools that I just mentioned, you all can use it without looking or without going for a second thought about it, because they were for tax compliances, they were for data analysis purposes, audit analytics, because they are not actually advertising you, but they are actually helping you in your internal control checks. For example, team management, they are being used for compliance monitoring, fraud detection. All of this, AI is very much usable, and you can all use it any day, anytime. It is not at all against the rules of ICAI guidelines for ethics. Coming to the next slide, I hope my speed now is fine. How to market without breaking the code of ethics. So now the question that arises for most of the CA professionals is, we have so many ethical, code of ethics. We have so many guidelines. We have so many clauses. How do we actually market without coding, without breaking that code. So you need to first understand the ethical guidelines. Why have they been put to you? You don't need to come to the conclusion that, oh, I cannot market myself, I cannot do the lead generation, now I don't need to really make an online presence. That is not at all the case. Understand why ethical guidelines have been put upon you. So transparency in communication is very important. Whenever you're doing any kind of communication, you make sure that you're being very, very transparent about what you're saying and what do you mean. There should not be any kind of double notches or any kind of under the sentence meaning. Okay. Second thing is you need to avoid direct solicitation or exaggerated claims. Any kind of numbers, any kind of client solicitation, any kind of service solicitation, any kind of advertisement for that matter is not allowed. I read it somewhere while I was reading about the code of ethics that a CA's signature is more important than the prime minister's signature. And I think that is the reason when I started reading the clauses, there were so many clauses that have been put up to not advertise or for not, putting up any kind of cold calling or lead generation for that matter. Number three is you need to maintain your client confidentiality. You have, no matter how big or small your client is, you cannot name your client, you cannot name the numbers, you cannot advertise them that how you have helped them or what do you do for a particular client. So you are not allowed to do this. Going to the next thing, then how to market. So first we need to cross out the word market yourself because you are not here marketing yourself. Now our focus shifts on thought leadership. Here CAs are people who are actually the people that the whole financial world, or the world for that matter, the money for that matter, is placing it pillars on. So what I feel here is we need to cross out the marketing term and we need to shift our mindset on thought leadership. Here, CAs need to behave or market themselves as leaders for change. Number one thing that you can do is you can write blogs, articles, guides, compliance, and financial tips. You can easily put out blogs and posts that talk about educational and awareness purposes. And it is very important that you put out these kind of blogs or posts, so not just for advertising yourself or for marketing yourself, but now your focus is more on thought leadership. Now your focus is more on education and awareness purposes. So I will give you a roadmap on how to start and how to optimize all of your social media presence in the coming slides. Number two is hosting webinars to educate your audience. Whenever you are putting up any kind of webinar, any kind of live session, any kind of video for that matter, it can educate your audience and whoever is in your audience can ask questions from you. That makes a two-way communication and gets you into those 1% people who are actually making a change here. Number three is share anonymized success stories and case studies. What you can do is you can, if for example you have a particular client with whom you feel that lack of awareness got him into a particular situation, you can put out an anonymous case study about it for educational purposes. A, for other people who are CAs. B, for people who are aspiring to be CAs. Three, for people who are not from the CA fraternity, but they need to know about these things so that they do not land in a particular situation like your client. So you can definitely put out case studies which can actually aware and educate people of not just Indian land, for example, but globally. Coming to the next slide, you can also use networking platforms. So building connections on LinkedIn and participate in industry forums. LinkedIn is one of the perfect platforms for CA professionals. It is no nonsense platform. Although recently LinkedIn has pivoted itself from being a professional space to entertainment space, but it is still 80 to 90%. It's a no nonsense space. So you will not find any kind of non-targeted people there. You will only find professional people who are either looking out for jobs or who are either already in professions and they are looking out for people to join them. So initially when LinkedIn started, it only started for people who are looking for internships and jobs. But now LinkedIn has come up to a space where professionals can speak their minds and build meaningful connections. So that is the particular thing that we need to do whenever we are trying to shift our focus to thought leadership. We need to make meaningful connections and we need to aware and educate people around the globe. And the best part about LinkedIn is that it does not work on algorithms like YouTube and Instagram, where you need more shares and more comments on it. But LinkedIn works on connection algorithm. So, for example, I have some odd 10,000 connections on LinkedIn. From those 10,000 connections, suppose I do a comment on ICI's post. If I am making a comment on ICI's post or I am interacting with ICI's post, then all of my 10,000 odd connections can actually see it. So you need to make connections with people who you actually align with, your mindset aligns with, and you want to see what kind of content do they consume. So the kind of content that I am consuming will be shown to all the 10,000 connections that I have. And if they interact with that particular post, all of their odd connections will be shown its post. So LinkedIn works on a connection basis, and that is the best part about their algorithm. And you can also participate in industry forums. So for example, within ICI, if you want to conduct any webinar, if you want to, have any sort of a roundtable conference or all of those sort of things, you can definitely reach out to the right people and have that networking platform for yourself. There you will not just speak your mind, you will also learn a lot from the feedback that people give to you. Second is you can engage with posts, answer questions, and provide value. For example, you see someone providing misinformation about the CA fraternity, or you see someone saying some wrong, setting a wrong narrative about how to become a CA or how does a CA space, functions, how does a corporate house function for that matter. You can actually put out, either you can put out a post about it yourself, or what you can do is you can engage with that post and all of your connections will be able to see that. Then there is a blog section also available on LinkedIn, but it is not like a blog thing. It is more like a question and answer thing. What you can do is you can answer those questions which are put up there by layman people who do not have a lot of knowledge about how the financial world works. You can put out answer for those people, and by answering that, LinkedIn will also give you badges. So LinkedIn gives you LinkedIn voice of the year, LinkedIn voice of the month. These are some of the badges that LinkedIn provides to you. And by giving up, what happens when you get that badges, your reach expands. What you do is, when you are suppose you are when you're given the top voice of LinkedIn badge and you have some 5,000 connection, whenever people see that badge on your space, they will definitely give you a follow. So your 5,000 might be converted into 5 lakh if you get that top voice of LinkedIn badge. Then you can also provide value by adding your particular opinions. So for example, there is some kind of current affair going on. For example, recently a person committed suicide, and from that particular suicide, he also posted a video about it. From that particular video, people are questioning men's rights. So, what kind of rights do men have? What is our government doing about it? All of these kind of questions are sparking a lot of conversation. So, if you have a particular opinion about it, you can either put it into a video form or into a blog form and post it on LinkedIn. And definitely, because it is all it's trending right now, it will definitely get to a lot of people. You just need to post it with the right set of keywords and the right set of hashtags for that matter. Then coming to content that you need to avoid. So misleading claims about your services or your results. If you have a particular service or or a particular result and you're putting exaggerated claims, you're putting up misleading claims, I would request you to not at all put your results at all over social media, because you never know when it violates the code of ethics. So I would ask you to completely eradicate it. Number two is unverified client testimonial. So, for example, LinkedIn has this feature of someone recommending you. So if someone wants to recommend you, they can just come and put up a small post, a small comment about you, which is absolutely fine to do. But suppose you are putting up it yourself and you're putting it unverified and it is not right, either it is not right or maybe it does it has claims which are not really there, or it has misleading claims, exaggerated claims. So that is also not allowed. So you do not need to put out any of that matter. So make sure that you are putting up, you're not putting up client testimonials which are unverified or having any kind of misleading claims. Okay. Then coming to the next thing, why you need to go digital. So a very simple answer that I would give to you is why you need to go digital. If you want to go global, if you want to represent India CA fraternity on a global stage, and we should aim for big things. So we need to aim to represent India on a global stage. We need to go digital. And what are the key trends? Short form videos are performing really well on both Instagram and LinkedIn. We all know that we all have a now, because of this short form content, we have a very short concentration span, or some of us do not even have time to consume long form content. So we usually scroll 15-20 seconds of reels, or maybe YouTube shorts, or maybe LinkedIn reels. That is a new feature on LinkedIn. So short form video is taking up, and it is here for the next 10 years. For the next 10 years, if AI is not changed to a drastically next level where we have like a review sort of a thing from AI, where AI can actually create personalized content for each person, and every person is only consuming personalized content. Short form videos are here for a longer run, and they are dominating the platforms, and especially like Instagram and LinkedIn, which are recommended for all the CA professionals. Number two is AI tools are automating the repetitive tasks that you need to do every day. Um, they are also freeing your time for strategic work. So we all know a lot of time we are already wasting. When I discuss the AI tools, I think a lot of you must have thought that I spent so much of time doing this particular thing. I spent so much of time managing my team or my client, or I had like 2 hour or 120-minute conversation with my team to just sort the daily tasks, which is not at all required for you to waste your 120 minutes into a team call where you're just, giving out tasks to different people. It is not required. AI is automating all of these repetitive tasks that you need to do. It can also detect problems. It can give reminders. It can put out so many backup options for you. It can put out the deadlines. It can save you from a lot of hassle and a lot of time as well, so that you can invest your time into things which are more important, into things which require your one-to-one attention. So that is why AI tools are also very, very important if you are going digital, as well as it is vice versa. If you're going digital, AI tools are important. So it's a vice versa two-way conversation. Number three is younger clients prefer professional with an active online presence. Even if you have someone who's already working with you, even your team or your client, any person, if they are from our generation, if they are from a very younger generation, they prefer to work with people who have a digital voice, who have their own opinion, who have a particular kind of presence online. So if you do not have a website, you do not have a LinkedIn page, you're not having certain kind of connections on LinkedIn, you do not have a particular face which goes online, then a lot of people might back out to work with you if they are from a younger generation or a tech savvy generation. So these are the three top reasons for you to go digital. Now, some benefits for CAs. Number one is you will gain a lot of visibility in the crowded market, and I also see a lot of gap. When I researched about the top CA voices on LinkedIn, there were very few. If you go and search for top marketing voices, you'll see hundreds and thousands of people online on LinkedIn itself which have that top voice badge. But for CAs, it was hardly 10 people who got that badge, and some of them are now inactive as well. So gaining visibility in this crowded offline market, you need to have it online. You need to have your presence online, and because there is so much gap, it is easier as well right now in this particular time. Number two, straight you can strengthen your client relationships through consistent engagement. So by going digital, I not only mean making your online presence, but whenever you are using digital tools, you are using AI tools, you can strengthen client relationships by not missing any deadline, because you have AI to give you the particular reminder, you have AI to remind to your team, you have AI that gives a custom text message to your client as well. So here what happens is you are taken up more professionally by the client. The client is more impressed by how the way you work, that you're never missing deadlines, you're never, because these are very common things that happens with people. People miss out deadlines, people miss out on communication, people miss out on documents. Sometimes even one signature takes 3 to 4 days because some of your team member is not coming from the last 2 to 3 days, and now that particular one signature is pending and the whole work is pending. So for that, AI can actually strengthen your client relationships by being very, very professional for you, by keeping that professional environment alive for you. Then coming to future proof practices by staying relevant in the digital first economy. So we never know how the next 10 years are going to be, because in the last 5 years we have seen more change than the last 15 years. So AI is changing very rapidly. We have come to the nano, we call it the nanotechnology, and we don't know in the next 2 years what is going to happen in the next 10 years. It is unpredictable that how much the technology will change the world. So in order to stay ahead with it, in order to stay your make your online presence, as well as staying ahead in the game, staying with the front leaders, staying shifting your mindset into a thought leadership, you need to future proof yourself. So it is 2024 is almost about to end. So this is the right time for you to start using AI tools, to start being in the tech world, start learning the technologies that are coming up. It will be easier for you to inculcate in this world. So in this digital first economy, we have now to we have so many things. We have financial services that are now tech led. We have so many people who are already working with all of all sorts of big AI developers to automate all of these tasks, to even bring more personalized experiences for their clients, for their audience. I would like to bring to your notice that a lot of content creators now, they do not make their own videos. They use AI. They have their AI avatar which looks exactly same as them. They just put in this script there. They do not even do that. Their team puts in a script there and the video is made with a particular caption. It is posted on the right time and nothing is delayed. So consistency is the key for any and everything, and it is also the key for success in content creation or making your online presence. And for that also, AI has become very, very hassle free for a lot of top content creators who are tech savvy, definitely. Then coming to your path to online growth. So how you, I have told you a lot of things, and I have repeated a lot of things for you ethically, how you can grow, what are the tools that you can use, everything is there. But now it is so much of information that what is the only question that a person who is senior to me would like to ask, Nandini, just tell me, what do I need to do? I know going digital is important. That is why I'm in this webinar. I know AI tools are taking over the world. I know that AI is the future. I know building my online presence will make me expand like anything and make me scale up my business as well. But what do I need to do? What is the exact roadmap to it? And that is why the upcoming slides will be there. But before that, because a lot of people said that I have come up till here very fast, I would like to quickly go back to the AI tools and repeat them once for all of you. So we have talked about ChatGPT and how I have trained my own GPT. That now, if I only say that, hi GPT, please write an introduction for me, I need to send it to ICI people because I'm doing a webinar with them. It will do it in seconds. It knows who Nandini is. It knows what does she do. It knows what achievement she has, and it knows what is to be shown in front of CA people. Then Jasper AI, I have talked about it, how it can give you cues for content creation, as well as it can create content in minutes for you with a personalized and impactful, strategy. Then instead of just being over dependent on Word or Excel, I think you should go a little bit on Grammarly and GPT integration. What it will do for you is it will ensure error-free and professional communication by reducing all sorts of grammatical errors, versage errors. It'll also, give you a better vocabulary by reframing a few of your lines and shortening up a few things. So it is a very hassle-free, it is a very time-saving tool for people who write a lot of emails, for people who write a lot of legal documents or any kind of professional document, people who, type in terms and conditions. It is a very hassle-free tool. Then coming to for project management, I personally use both of these, Notion as well as Trello. So a lot of us, we have our morning huddle call or our morning calls where at 10 or 10:30 all of our team connects together, and we have if for example, I have a team of more than 15 people. They all come together and sit in a call. I spend 10 to 15 minutes with one particular person, and I'm spending 10 minutes with all of them, one to one, and there are 15 people. So you can imagine how my 150 minutes are gone, which is not something that I would love to do every day. Once in a while, it's fine, but not every day. So for that, you can use Notion and Trello together, and you can also integrate now ChatGPT into it. What it'll do is you can just put in all the tasks. You can organize your workflows, what is to be done by whom, who will do what. If they have any question, they can even put it up there as comments and notes, and you can just answer it there. You can make to-do lists or task lists for each of your team members. You can even put in deadlines. It will show alert option to all the people who are dependent for that deadline, and it will also keep reminders and everything. So it is like a assistant for you. Then coming to Trello is useful for both client as well as your team. Notion I would not really recommend for you to show to your client because it does not have that blocking option where a particular person cannot see all of the documents. But Trello has that, so you can set up your Trello and Notion account and just at least try it for a week, and you will see that how your time is being saved, your hassle is being saved. So this is very, very important. Then I have also discussed Canva and GPT, how you can design flyer in like less than 5 minutes. Lumen 5 I have discussed for people who do not have the time or are camera shy, how they can just turn their blogs or their written content to video content without any hassle. Then I have discussed QuickBooks for financial task management. I've discussed Zoho for client relationships and automate workflows. And Tableau. Tableau, very, very important if you want to visualize some numerical data into graph forms, bar forms, pie chart forms, any kind of form. It has a lot of options available, even workflows it makes, even charts it makes, even timelines it makes. So all of these representations are already added to it, and you can also integrate it with GPT for now. Then coming to a few which are niche specific for CA professionals, it is MindBridge AI Auditor. It flags your audit risks. Then Caseware, it is for large data sets for audit issues. And then ACL Analytics, it is also used by data analytics for any kind of fraud detection, monitor your transactions, etc. So these can be used. So these were the things that I discussed and very, very important for you to use. Then I also discussed all of these things where we discussed networking, content to be avoided, content to be done. I discussed the benefits of going digital. Now coming to our main question, what is the paths to do so? What is the exact thing that is to be followed? All of the remind part is over. Now we really need to look forward on how we can integrate those learnings from the Ramayana into our lives. That is how I like to put it up. You have heard Ramayana, you know who Ram was, you know who Ma Sita was, and now you want to learn from their lives and put out a few points. So this is that summary. Now coming to build your online presence, what you need to do is you need to create a professional website adhering to all the code of ethics. With what you can do is you can use blogs, you can use frequently asked questions, you can put in your vision, your mission, even your team. You can put out how your team works, how you are maintaining all the code of ethics. You can also put out some blog which are educational and for awareness purposes. You can also put out some case studies as well. So you will need to build a professional website adhering to all the conditions put up. The second thing that you need to do is customize LinkedIn and Google My Business profile. So LinkedIn pay, you need to optimize it, which is a longer task that I will discuss in the upcoming slide. And Google My Business profiles are very, very important because if someone is looking up for you, they can directly, if they type in Nandini Sharma, they should see Nandini Sharma in the first or second, after the sponsored post, they should at least see your real self. So that is why you need to maintain your Google My Business profile. So that is actually a part of Google indexing. Then coming to how you can leverage your social media. Number one thing that you need to do, your niche is already sorted. It is within the CA boundaries. Number one thing now that you need to do is choose platforms. Any kind of platform you can choose, but my suggestion would be to choose LinkedIn first. If you are trying to do three platforms together, that will not work because you already have so many things to do in life. You have so much, time to be invested in your team, in your clients, in your work, that you will not be left with any time to work on your social medias if you select three platforms. So what you can do here is you can choose platforms from the ones that I've shown here. But what I would recommend here is to choose LinkedIn because that is the safest option and the easiest place to grow. LinkedIn का एक ऐसा formula है which I have given to so many people that I've worked with, and I'll be sharing it just after 2 slides. I'll be sharing it with you, and it has worked like magic for all of those people. And all of those people run big companies. All of those people are actually extremely busy, and they were very shocked on how spending so much less time on a particular platform, they've grown so much. Then consistently, what you can post about, some of the content that you can talk about easily, you can talk about taxation tips. You can talk about compliance updates. You can talk about some of the case studies. You can also talk about frequently asked questions. What other things that you can talk about? You can also talk about the new things that are coming up, any kind of new update that has been done, because that is the most searched thing. जो पुरानी चीजें हैं जो ऑलरेडी बुक्स में अवेलेबल है वो तो मोस्टली सब लोगों को पता ही है, बट जो नई चीजें आ रही हैं, जो अपडेट्स आ रहे हैं, जो मे बी कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन आ गई है या कोई ऐसी चीज है जिसमें लोग बार बार गलतियां करते हैं, पीपल मेक अ लॉट ऑफ मिस्टेक्स, सो यू कैन ऐड दैट एज वेल. So now what you can also do here is to teach to young CAs. So for young CAs, you can also put out some ethical things. You can also put out some experience tips for client management, like some experience tips for team management, how they can expand, how they can grow, how they can scale up, what kind of activities do they need to do, what kind of external courses that they need to take up, what kind of other things that they need to, learn. Maybe some add-on certificate courses, maybe some kind of add-on courses that are to be taken up. Maybe they can do a different kind of a diploma or a degree. Maybe they can expand into a different field altogether. What all can they actually do? How they can actually grow as a chartered accountant? What else they can do to set themselves apart from the crowd? So some experience tips is what is recommended by a lot of people, and some kind of experience tips that comes from a lot of experience of maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. You've been working in a particular field, you know what exactly is to be done. And what kind of ethical mistakes that maybe you have made in your younger CA days. You can also talk about them. You can have a series of it, of how you were as a young CA, how you managed to do. Another thing that we can talk about is women in this particular industry, how it was not, I mean, it was very difficult initially when there were very, very less women, but now how the scenarios have changed, how now even we see more women CAs than men in some of the offices, or maybe in the results when the results come up. Or you can also talk about how was your journey when you were preparing for the particular examination, how you used to study. Some study tips are also beneficial when you share it with people. You can share about the resources that you used, about the techniques that you used, what were your study hours like, what kind of preparation problems that you faced, how your family supported you, how many years it took for you to actually finally get that CA in front of your name. All of these things, because these are not the things that AI can tell us. This is what sets humans apart from AI. AI cannot truly feel. Humans can feel. Humans can have experiences. Human can talk from a perspective of experiences. Humans can come up with emotions when they talk about even serious topics like taxation or any kind of compliance update as well. They can come up with some emotional appeal. They can talk about rights, they can talk about ethics, which I think AI has missing, the human touch. So we are not totally dependent on AI. How we set ourselves apart from people who are just leveraging social media platforms, we can actually put up things which mean something to us, that means something for our country, that means something for, maybe not, if not for our country, if not for the globe, it means something for our community which to which we belong. It means something for maybe the area in which we live. We can talk about sustainability into it. We can talk how CA professionals have been and are coming up with new sustainability options, how they are changing, how they care about not just money but also about mother nature and the resources. So these are the few dynamics that we can bring in together. You can also talk about how CA professionals are not were not really on the online space, and now how they are slowly and gradually, coming comfortable with the particular environment and with the particular digital first economy. How it used to be 15 years ago for a CA professional, and how it is now. How the competition has changed, how the digital world has changed the fraternity. You can also talk about your experiences with some senior CAs when you came into the industry, how they have mentored you, how they have, brought the best in you, how they have helped you expand, how they have become the, wind beneath your wings. So we can talk about all of these things, which I feel AI cannot talk about. This is exactly why online presence is important for people who have a lot of experience, and we need their perspective out there. We need to hear their voices. So that is the reason that your online presence matters more to us than to you. So it really matters for the world. It really matters for young generation to hear from a very experienced point of view, from actually a bird eye view. So we see things. My principal back in my school used to say that, Nandini, you're standing on the second floor of a building, and I'm standing on the maybe on the 60th floor, and there's a huge gap between how you view things and how I view things. And I've always taken her advice. So how your perspective can change the online space for the younger generation is what we are trying to bring about here. Coming to the next slide is your path actually, and how you can use a few AI tools specifically for content generation. Okay, so email marketing campaigns are not really allowed here, but I'm not really talking about advertisement based email marketing. I'm actually talking about replying to already present clients, replying to some kind of collaborations, replying to your seniors, replying to team, because we all use emails. It's not like email is not allowed, advertisement through emails is not allowed. So what we can do is we can still use Mailchimp. It's a very good AI tool when it comes to mails, and it is directly for that. There is one more called magic.ai, but I would still prefer Mailchimp over magic.ai, although you can write both of them down, and whichever suits you, you can use that. First, take a trial of 2 to 3 days. Use it once or twice in 2 to 3 days, and then you will see the change. You will see how much time it saves, how much hassle it saves, how much of your brain it saves. It saves a lot of your energy. It saves a lot of repeated tasks to be done, and it is very good if you are repeatedly replying to a lot of emails. Then you can also use AI for SEO optimization and content planning. Very good, because we use it particularly for making our content strategy. I have, in the past 1 year, I started content creation 1.5 year ago, and in that I have gained more than 3.5 lakh followers now. and I have multiple pages on multiple platforms, and I also have reached to more than, I think, we reach every day we reach 15 million people. So that is something, that is a big number when it comes to humans, that you are reaching 15 million humans. If you think in that way, it's a big number for me. So for that, we need to really plan that what is going to be next, what is going to be the next step, and how much we need to shoot, how much we need to script, how much we need to strategize, what we need to change, all of that stuff. So AI is our right hand for that. And what we really do is we make a content calendar using, the structure is made by ChatGPT, and we can fill it up on Notion. So that is what we exactly do. And for SEO optimization, again, GPT can be your best friend. Apart from that, we have Answer the Public and a lot of platforms which are AI integrated. They're not actually AI tools; they are actually websites which have AI integration into it. And you can just search your particular niche on that, and you can get a lot of SEO optimization techniques, and you can also get a lot of steps to be done. So there are, basically, I'll tell you what SEO optimization means. It's a typical digital marketing term. SEO basically means search engine optimization. ठीक है? So now what we actually do for SEO, हम कुछ पर्टिकुलर वर्ड्स को इंटीग्रेट कर देते हैं, कुछ पर्टिकुलर लिंक्स को इंटीग्रेट कर देते हैं उस पर्टिकुलर वेबसाइट या उस पर्टिकुलर पोस्ट में. Whenever a person who searches that particular word or a similar word to it, our posts, our blogs, our videos, our website pops up. So it's just how much better you can SEO optimize it so that yours is shown in the first three. Because whenever we do a Google search, whenever we do any kind of search, we usually open from the first five. So we need to get you in the first three. That is exactly what SEO means. Now there are two kind of SEOs that are to be done. One is on-page SEO, other is off-page SEO. For the on-page SEO, what we do is we put in keywords. Simple, basic, very, in a very layman language, we put some words which are related to your particular fraternity. So for example, for CA fraternity, we have a set of 100 to 100 keywords which we use in their websites. Okay. Then we have some kind of off-page SEO. What off-page SEO basically means is that whenever a person is visiting any of your posts on LinkedIn or any other platform, so that particular link is also available on your website, and that link tracking is being done, right? So these are two kind of SEOs in a very basic language. These are done. So how you can have AI use it? You can get keywords online from various websites which are AI integrated. You can structure your website as well as your pages from this. And how it can be used for content planning? It can be useful when you are creating your content calendar. It can be useful whenever you're making a content strategy. It is very useful whenever you are trying to script, whenever you're trying to schedule anything, for any and everything from A to Z of content, you can use it. It's just that you need to spend some time with it to get used to it. Then coming to your path to online growth, analyze and adapt. First is you can track your performance using Google Analytics and LinkedIn Insights. Google Analytics for your website, because मैंने आपको दो चीजें बनाने को बोली हैं. पहला आपकी वेबसाइट, दूसरा आपका LinkedIn पेज. So हम अभी उसी पाथ को लेके चलेंगे. So आपका जो Google Analytics है वो आपके वेबसाइट क्लिक्स, वेबसाइट पे कितने लोग आ रहे हैं, किस ब्लॉग के जरिए कितने लोग आए, where are people entering from, what are the SEO keywords performing well for you, what is the percentage of SEO that you have done. All of these is well present on your Google Analytics, and you can take leverage of that. Then coming to the second thing, which is your LinkedIn Insights. LinkedIn Insights are very useful. Why? Is because they do not talk in likes, shares, and comment numbers. It talks in impression numbers. Impression means that whenever a person is scrolling, it is a very complex algorithm when you're building an app. So whenever a person is scrolling, whenever I'm scrolling, suppose I stopped at your post, I clicked on read more, I read the post, but I did not like, comment, or share, which a lot of people do. LinkedIn will still count it as an impression that this particular person, this one person has clicked on your post and they have made a impression on it. So it's not just about like, comments, and shares. It's about impressions. How many people are there who were interested in reading your full post? Those people are actually your targeted audience on your LinkedIn page. LinkedIn Insights will tell you how much time they spent, what all the kitne line tak read kiya. I think that is also predictable now. So that is what that is how you can analyze that where right direction you're going in and which direction you should actually choose, where you can tweak some things here and there, how you can make some changes and then get on the right track. Number two is you can get some client feedback to improve on your professional presence. Um, your clients who are already working with you know you from inside out on how professionally you work, what are the things that you do. So they are not actually emotionally connected with you. That is why we ask you to take your client feedbacks on your online presence. So just ask your clients to just check out your LinkedIn page or maybe your website, or maybe have a consultation call via your website. So all of these things can be added to it, and get a feedback from them that what all did you like as a layman person, not from our industry. What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? What was the right thing? What all changes do you suggest? And there is one thing about people, about humans. um वो कितना भी कैसा भी person हो, whenever you ask them to point out mistakes, they become a very good critic. So I feel that your client can be the best critique for you. A, they are working with you, so their feedback actually matters. B, it sets them into a position where they feel very powerful, and it also builds a relationship with you. And C is that they're not emotionally connected with you, so they can be as brutal as possible, and you would also not mind that. So this is how we ask you to do that. Then coming to scaling up your efforts. So whenever you're doing a LinkedIn, you can also invest in it. You can buy a premium LinkedIn account, which is recommended to a lot of people if you're trying to build connections and send messages, and you want a verified badge and all of that stuff. So LinkedIn has a professional space. It has a premium account that you can pay and get. What it does is it adds a wall of security to your LinkedIn page, and hacking becomes very difficult for that particular page. So it's not that easily hacked. And if you're trying to build an online presence, please make sure that you are well aware about all of these things, because very easily these days these accounts are getting hacked. Recently, I think a lot of you might know Ranveer Alabadia. He has two podcasts, the Ranveer Show, the Beer Biceps. So he has two shows, and both of them are in the top podcasts of the year for global space. So he's there globally representing India in the podcast culture, and his YouTube account with more than 10 million subscribers got hacked. Although because he had so much influence, he had so many people working for him, it got saved. Later on, it got retracted. But for people like you and me who do not have such a big presence, or maybe YouTube is not directly working with us, or LinkedIn team is not directly working with us, we might not get those resources to get our page back. So it is recommended for you to take the premium account of it and get done with the cybersecurity layer that they add to your account. Then collaborate with other professionals to reach a wider audience. You can collaborate with people in your particular fraternity who are actually trying to build their online presence, who are out there on LinkedIn, and they are actually the top voices. They'll be more than happy to collaborate, because creator industry is one such industry where collaborations are accepted with wide hands open. So those kind of collaborations can be done, and that will actually expand your reach and scale you up. So scale up efforts, you can definitely do that. Then ICI compliant online professional presence. So hosting informative webinars, topics like GST updates, income tax amendments, financial planning, compliance changes, all of that can be done, and you can have an online presence within your fraternity, and you can maintain some professionalism, you can uphold ethical standards, and let your expertise speak for itself. So you can reach out to your own people, your own community, and host informative webinars. From here you will get the initial push of actually speaking up online. If you're someone who's not comfortable with camera, you should actually come up with a few webinars and some live sessions, and then you should start creating content. You'll feel more confident about it. Then you can publish articles in professional journals. Topic ideas can be practical insights on accounting standards, compliance checklist, which is very, very important, then budget analysis, which is done every financial year, and industry specific case studies that you can talk about. And these journals should be adhere to ICI standards, and it can be any kind of national journal for that matter, or maybe it can be any global journal as well. Then you can create informative video series. So you can do conceptual clarity videos on complex financial concepts without solicitation, of course. But creating these informative video series can be a very good resource for all the people who are trying to learn these complex topics. And we all know how the AI and the videos have taken over the books. Although books can never be replaced, but a lot of students these days, they would prefer, listening to a concept and making their own notes instead of reading it from a particular book and grasping it. And for some people, reading becomes a lot of hassle. And also for people who are blind, it'll be a very good resource if converted into an audio book. So even for people who are specially abled, it'll be a very, very good thing to be done. So that can be done here. Then some do's and don'ts again that I would like to talk about. You need to use professional write-ups to describe your services. There are some guidelines given. You need to adhere to that. Then you can share educational content on approved platforms, right? You can't share it on just any platform which is there. So YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, meta platforms you can definitely use. You can use Google. You can use blogs. Then you can respond to tenders with prescribed minimum fees. So this is something which is written in the guidelines. You can, with the prescribed minimum fees, you can respond to some tenders. But again, the don'ts here are you cannot advertise or solicit clients directly. You cannot do that. Testimonials, any kind of endorsements, or another thing that we have here is you cannot highlight your awards or achievements publicly. So you cannot put out a post about it when it comes to speaking about it in a way that it it is soliciting, or it is advertisement for your services. That way, the intention. That is why the first thing that I said was transparency in communication. If you go back to that slide, you'll see that I've already said the number one thing: transparency in communication. Why you're saying it? So, for example, if you're in a podcast and someone asks you about a particular achievement, you can definitely talk about it. But specifically putting it out to gather some clients or acquiring some clients, that is not allowed. Then, some key takeaways and the action plan, which is the last part of our presentation. Some key takeaways. Number one, professional presence online is essential for your growth in 2025. This is the right time. I see a gap in the CS space, and you should definitely take your chance and get into that space. Number two, AI tools can save time and they can boost your productivity. I've shown you so many AI tools, and I'm very, very sure the people that are listening to me right now, 50 to 60% do not have any idea what do these particular AI tools do. So, especially the ones that I told you about, team management as well as client management, you must try those. And especially GPT plus Canva for designing. That is also very, very easy to use and saves a lot of your time and hassle. Number three, ethical marketing builds trust and credibility. So if you're following all the ICI guidelines, all the code of ethics, and you're trying to, build your presence online, you're putting up the posts that I've told you, you're putting up all your emotional experiences and all of this stuff to educate and empower and aware people about your fraternity, your education, your experiences, then it'll build a next level trust and credibility for you, not just online, but people will talk about you offline as well. Then coming to the action plan that you need to do. Number one, start small. Just create or optimize your LinkedIn profile for today or maybe tomorrow. The first thing that you need to do, पहले छोटे से शुरू करते हैं, baby steps at times, because when we are new to something, we cannot try all the things at the same time. When we are learning, we do baby steps. And for that, what we do is we create and optimize LinkedIn profile, the first thing. Or for some people, it can be creating your website. So if you do not have a website, then your website. And if you do have a website, that you can start creating and optimizing your LinkedIn profile. And you can definitely add me as a connection. Then experiment with AI tools. You can start with two things. First is ChatGPT. You can ask it to write your emails, or maybe you can ask it for a reply to an email. You can ask it to prepare, a strategy for LinkedIn for that matter. And then you can also use Canva. you can design some of your posts. It will hardly take 5-6 minutes. So you can design some of your LinkedIn posts there, or you can design your LinkedIn banner. There is a cover page of your LinkedIn which is to be added. So you can design that with Canva. Then you need to develop a 30-day content calendar. LinkedIn works on consistency. If you post very good things for 2 to 3 days and then you are invisible for the next 1 month, LinkedIn will not give you the reach you deserve. So it is very important that on LinkedIn you stay consistent. So you need to have a 30-day plan in hand before you start. And that's it for today. I hope that I was adhering to all sorts of guidelines that were available online. And I hope that I have covered mostly all the things that you need to start your action plans and your key takeaways. If you have any questions, I'm open to those questions now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nandini, for such an insightful and eye-opening session for the betterment of the professional members. We do have a couple of questions from the members, and I'll quickly share them with you. So, will the originality and the creativity diminish over time with adoption of AI and create a generation of impatiently lethargic thought leaders?
I think that is a very common question to be
Yes.
asked these days whenever I go for college events, especially because students are very worried that will AI take over everything. But it's not like that. AI will go hand in hand. If you lose touch of digital world, if you lose touch of what AI can help you with, you will definitely lose on a lot of things. But AI can actually empower you. You should take it in that spirit that AI is here to save your time. It is here to make you more structured and managed, and it is here to empower you with more time, more creativity, and AI can never truly feel. That is not possible. So, but
Right.
we as humans, we can truly feel, we can truly have emotions, we have experiences of so many years. We live the real lives, and I think that actually matters. So, if we share that online, I think that will have more meaning than just GPT content.
True. I think you already covered that in your presentation also.
Yes.
And it's always AI plus HI, which is human intelligence. So they go hand in hand, and maybe this problem would
Right.
not arise. Okay. Next question. What are the meaning of Google Analytics, and what are its practical, applications? If you can share some.
Okay, so for Google Analytics, it is basically for people who have done their Google indexing as well as they have their websites which are displayed on Google. So, whenever you make a website, you need to index it on Google. And whenever you do that, whenever you search your website's name, for example, if you go and search the Invincible Academy, the first link that will come up to you is our website. So whenever you open it up, what we can do when we have the credentials of it of Google, we can see how many people visited it per day and
Hmm.
what did they actually come from? What was the source of their visiting the website? What all did they read? What all did they click on? What was the time spent on the particular website? And that actually also helps a lot of people to run ads on their websites. If they have a large footprint on the website, they run ads, but it is not recommended to see a professional since they cannot advertise.
Right. Right.
So yeah, but they can use Google Analytics to see how much their particular SEO optimization is working and how
Okay.
many people are visiting their website every day and what is bringing them to their website. And they can work more on the thing that is actually bringing more people to the website.
Great. Next, how to secure LinkedIn profile and personal details.
How to secure.
LinkedIn profile and the personal details. So basically, they're talking about the data security, everything that is out there, maybe on the Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube.
I think LinkedIn already has this option of what you want to make people see and what
Hmm.
you want to hide from them. So, for example, a lot of us, for example, me, I don't want to share my phone number. So, I have the option of hiding phone number, date of birth, and all of these things. But my name, my bio, all of my services are displayed on LinkedIn. So, that is the things that I choose to display. So LinkedIn is a very consent based kind of a platform. So you can choose to show what you want to, and it is recommended for you to write a particular intro for yourself and put it on LinkedIn. That is actually what goes on LinkedIn, and you can definitely choose what you are writing in it.
Okay. So basically, we can customize, our preferences as to what personal information we wish to share on the social media platform, be it any.
Yes, definitely. And
Okay.
with whom? So
Hmm.
if only your connections can see that, if your
Right.
connections first So there are three things on LinkedIn. One is
Hmm.
your connection, one is your connections first, and one is your connection second. So for example, you and I are a connection. So
Hmm.
I follow you, you follow me. We are a connection. So all of my posts and my comments and my activities will be visible to you. And if I choose to show it to your first, so for example, somebody who's connected to you but is not connected to me, they can
Right.
also see my post. That is your first. So first का मतलब आपका मेरे connection का connection. And LinkedIn में एक और option होता है connection second. So, for example, I am your connection, you have a connection, and they have a connection which is not connected to you. So,
Okay.
connection ka connection can also see my
Hmm.
post because I chose to, show it to them. But you
Hmm.
can all the time have that security or add in that option that only my connections can see or my connections first can see. So, those are some of the settings that you can do definitely.
So, like, just an extended query regarding this question. If I limit, the reach of my content by limiting, say, I just want the first connections to see the content or the second connection, that
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
affect my visibility on the social media platform, right? How do you balance that?
Yes. Yes, definitely it will. That is the reason that if you're trying to build an online presence,
Hmm. Hmm.
and if you're building out your page as a content creators page or a
Hmm.
creators page for that matter, you need to turn on all of these settings. But if you're only doing it for example, whenever I ask my students to have a LinkedIn page or to do optimization for their LinkedIn account, I only ask them to turn it to their connections because what
Okay.
they're trying to do is they're trying to get internships from it or they're trying to get into talk to a lot of CEOs or founders. So for them it is not necessary that their information is visible to all the people.
Okay, understood. Fine. Next question. Is there a way of integrated two different AI tools for a common deliverable, like using Canva and Grammarly together on a single PPT without working one by one? So, like, can we
So
integrate
it
two applications? Yeah.
Yes, we can do that. So
Okay.
GPT works with mostly all of the AI tools these days, but you have to see if their backends have actually integrated them together or not. You have to see, you have to check that if they are allowed to integrate together. So, for example, Canva
Hmm.
and GPT are integrated. They're not integrated. You can integrate them. You are allowed to do that. But and Grammarly is also integrated with Canva. So yes, you can do, but it is recommended to not do that. Instead, you can do GPT because it can add content to it as well as check the spellings and the grammar.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So that can be done. Yes, this integration is very much possible, but it should be allowed from the software's part.
So when you say software, that means Canva or any other
They have allowed it
application
for
that
GPT
needs
and a
to.
particular websites. Yes, they have collaborated together. It's like a tie-up.
Okay.
So
Got
these
it.
softwares have tie-ups together, so that is why we can integrate them.
And this integration is, allowed on the free version or on the paid version
It is
for
allowed.
Canva and GPT
GPT, yes, allowed for the free version. Canva,
okay,
you need to buy the subscription.
subscription. Okay.
Yes.
Next, yes. What was the LinkedIn strategy which you wanted to share about expanding our reach, especially for the CA practitioners? I think that's
Yes.
the most
Yes.
sought after
Right.
question here.
Yes, absolutely. So the strategy that we give for any person to just do their LinkedIn, it's 4 posts per week, and 2 comments per day. So it's like a formula. So it's like
Okay.
4 posts per week, which in which we take 1 day's break in between. So I'll give you an example as well. Then it
Hmm.
is 2 comments per day, and it is 1 blog post per 15 days. So
Okay.
what it does is in a week, for example, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we post. We write up the write up thing we post. Then every day we put 2 comments to people who are in the same field. So, for example, I connect with some other CEO and founder, and I put a comment on their post. 2 comments per day, which hardly takes like 5-6 minutes.
Right. Right.
Then we also post 1 blog, which is the contribution part, which is available on LinkedIn. In every 15 days, we do a question answer blog. In that, LinkedIn has a section where people ask random questions and you can select a question and answer to it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so these are the 3 things that we do. This formula together worked for, taken up for 120 days, can actually grow you from 0 to 10K followers.
Okay. Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. I think this is useful for the members and for starters. If not at this frequency, they
Yeah,
can go
yeah,
with more frequency just to build
yeah.
up their LinkedIn profiles.
For LinkedIn, you just need to be consistent. Your frequency can be decided by you. It is not usually recommended to post on LinkedIn on Saturdays and Sundays. You can just post from Monday to Friday because Saturday, Sunday, usually most of the
People
professional
don't.
people are not
Hmm,
online.
hmm,
Yeah.
hmm. And apart from LinkedIn, is there any other social media platform that we as CA practitioners can use? I understand LinkedIn is more towards a professional community, but there are a lot of finance content creators like
Yeah.
maybe Rachna Ranade or Anushka Rathod, then Twinkle Jain.
Hmm.
They use
Hmm.
Instagram and YouTube Shorts a lot. So can we
They
also do
do.
that? So I mean,
Yes, absolutely. You can do that, but there are you need to adhere to a particular guidelines, and you need to see that for your bio as well as for your
hmm,
description, your captions. You need to watch a lot of things, and short form content can be done. But what I recommend to people is if they're looking for if they have a vision, if they
hmm,
want to grow in a short span of time, then of course short form content is recommended. If they want to grow fast and in a short form, so they can do short form. But if they have a vision of, say, reaching out to this number of people or making real connections and actually making a change, then I would recommend long form content on YouTube, and that should be awareness plus educational content. It can actually go lengths when it comes to making awareness and a change. So for the thought leadership part, you can actually start long form content on YouTube, and
hmm.
it is slow. It grows very slow. Initially, you'll get very less views, and that can demotivate a lot of people.
Correct.
But if you
Hmm.
have a longer vision, if you have a long-term vision for, say, 5 years, 10 years, so for
Hmm.
that, definitely long-form YouTube is recommended. And long-form content will come back after a few years. And
Okay.
the community that we create with long form is not at all comparable to short form.
Okay. Also, like, is there a way to monetize the content on LinkedIn, like on YouTube and Instagram? I'm aware, but I'm not sure about LinkedIn. Like,
There are. So LinkedIn is one of the highly paid platforms.
okay.
But LinkedIn does not pay you directly. There are
Hmm.
brand endorsements to be done. But I think
Advertisements
CA
and all.
professionals are not allowed to do
Yeah.
endorsements. Yeah,
Okay.
so that is why I did not
Cover
include the
that.
monetization part. Yeah.
Understood. Understood. Okay. So I think yes. What are okay? So is subscribing to LinkedIn Premium beneficial for us, or should we go on the free version only?
You
Because
can start with the free version, but I would recommend the premium version to add that wall of security that it provides.
okay, and also does it help in reach? Like, does it maybe pop up your
No,
profile?
it doesn't really.
Not
No,
that
no,
that
no.
way.
It doesn't
Okay.
happen. Yeah.
Okay.
But it helps you, so you can text anyone. So, for
Hmm.
example, you and I are not connections, and both of us are on free versions. So,
Hmm.
none of us will be able to text each other unless we are a connection.
Hmm.
But if I have a premium account, even if we are not a connection, I'll be able to message you.
Okay. So I'm just talking this out of personal experience, not considering the the code of ethics. So I'm fairly active on LinkedIn, and the kind of content that I post there is maybe about a completion of a certificate course of the ICAI, or as a speaker at a webinar or a seminar, or maybe if I'm quoted at
Right.
any national daily or magazines, technical
Right.
topics only. So is this kind of posting within the boundary of code of ethics, or am I breaching any? I just wanted to like know. And for others also who post this kind of content apart from the educational posts, which I know is allowed, so can we post this kind of content on the LinkedIn, like
Yes,
within the
that is
code of ethics?
absolutely allowed. Yes, that is
Okay.
allowed. You can post awards, award pictures also. You can post about any kind of roundtable conference you were a part of, podcast you were a part
Yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
any kind of
Right.
interview that you were a part of. All of these things can be posted. And if you post it with the right keywords and the right hashtags, you can also reach to a lot of people because people really look up to these kind of posts on LinkedIn. They are still a
Okay.
trend.
So
So
are
yeah, it is
hashtags
good
still relevant? Because I was reading somewhere
for
that they are
LinkedIn.
for
LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
algorithm works on hashtags.
Okay, okay, okay. So that also makes a difference then. Great.
Yes.
So, okay, so I think we are okay. I have another question here. Is our data safe on LinkedIn or WhatsApp? So I think the LinkedIn part you've mostly covered with the settings. So on WhatsApp, okay, yes. Now with the WhatsApp, as I mentioned, can we use WhatsApp Business like as professionals? Is it allowed? Are you aware of any?
You can use WhatsApp Business, definitely.
Mhm.
You can do that, but only for your client management and for your team management. You
Hmm.
cannot use WhatsApp to run any kind of community ads or
Hmm.
any kind of those things. You cannot do cold calling. You cannot do broadcast texts for that matter. So all of those things are not allowed unless you are just doing it within the ICI community
Right.
members. You
Hmm.
can do that, but not for outside of the community. You cannot do broadcast messages or, for example, advertise your services there. You cannot do that. But you can use it for your team as well as your for your team management and client management. And on
Hmm.
that also, I would recommend people to take verified version of WhatsApp because sometimes WhatsApp gets glitches. Sometimes it might block you from, if you reply to unknown message or something. So a lot of things. Even WhatsApp has a lot of scams going on, frauds
Right.
going on. So
Right.
again, on WhatsApp, also I would recommend you to buy a verified version, and it adds a wall of security, and you are good to go. I mean, if so, we don't realize this unless some kind of scam happens with us. We don't realize
Correct.
it until then.
Correct.
Once a
Correct.
scam happens, and we're like, now we can't use our WhatsApp, and then it becomes a very big hassle to get your WhatsApp back because it's totally up to WhatsApp. It's a private limited.
Hmm.
They might never give you your account. So for those things we get very worried and we panic sometimes. So it's better to just take a premium version, just pay money to them and get sorted, because this is a part of your job and your career.
True. And about the safety aspect, again, I think it's similar to what LinkedIn has. The settings. It totally depends upon the kind of
Yes,
settings and permissions that you give to the platform, right?
yes.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I
WhatsApp
don't
business
think.
is better when it comes to
Mhm.
security. WhatsApp business is better when it comes to security and
Okay.
as compared to the personal WhatsApp. But if you buy the verified version, then it adds a layer of security and it's good to go.
Okay. Okay. So I think we are done with the questions that were posed by the members, and thank you so much. It was very eye-opening for us. And personally, I recently did the course, the AI course that is issued by the ICI, and I could relate to whatever you were saying here. And we as chartered accountants should always, because since you're already saying that the online presence of CA fraternity is quite low, so I think the
Yes,
ones who have at least attended this webinar, they should get the first movers advantage. And the first thing that you should do after this webinar is to make a LinkedIn profile, and start. And ma'am has
yes.
already shared the strategy to, grow your audience there. So that should
Yeah.
also work. So I'll quickly just give few key takeaways from this such an educational session. So first, obviously, we need to establish the online presence so that the clients can gauge the professional they are hiring. And as ma'am had said that a lot of young generation, maybe Gen X, Gen Y, and then probably the millennials, if your clientele belongs to that generation, they'll always prefer someone who is active online, maybe through LinkedIn or any other platforms. Then she gave us very useful customized GPTs in the form of Chat GPT for writing mails, introduction, Jasper AI for customized content creation, Grammarly for grammar, Notion and Trello for project management, and so on and so forth. She also mentioned some accounting tools like QuickBooks, Zoho CRM. And the most useful part of the deck was obviously the ICI guidelines, because we have this kind of restriction from the ICI to, maybe promote our content and promote ourselves, but within a restrictive way. So that was the most useful, and I think the most important part, which all members should keep in mind while using these AI tools and different platforms. Then also, again, I'm reiterating for the purpose, for the benefit of the professional fraternity out here, that LinkedIn is the answer to expand our professional reach. We need to be consistent, and by putting technical and useful content. And as ma'am had said, we can use our CA journey to inspire others, whether it's a student or a member and someone who is maybe struggling with the practice point. So with this, I would like to thank you on behalf of the CMIB of the ICAI, and we hope to see you more on the platform. And probably, there could be like next level session or anything that comes up new in the field of AI digital marketing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I would request you to keep a more interactive session next time so that we can
Yeah, yeah,
take
we take
questions.
that feedback. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Okay,
that would
thank
be
you.
great. And
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much for having me. Thank you.
Okay, bye.